channel. Tell us your YouTube channel.
My YouTube channel is Creativity RV.
And so, just to get a little different perspective, she's going to present today's video. I hope you enjoy it, you get something out of it, and check out her channel on YouTube, and I'll see you at the end of the video.
Bye, everybody. Okay, everybody, I'm with Julia, and we're here in Denver, Colorado, and she's going to give us a tour of her van. Say hi, Julia.
Hi, everybody.
Tell us about your van.
I have a 2015 Nissan Nv200. It gets about, on good days, it gets about 24 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
Driving 80 miles per hour. I can get better than that, up to 28 when I'm being good.
Wow, that's great.
Yes.
So a lot more economical than something bigger.
Absolutely.
Was that a factor in your decision?
It definitely was a factor in my decision, in addition to, because it's a cargo vehicle, it has a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty as opposed to the 3-year, 32,000-mile warranty.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That provided a lot more safety for me.
Yeah. So before we see your van, we're here in a parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah, we met here because this is a place I see a lot of people stealth camp, and so Julia was checking it out. But you do stealth camp sometimes.
Yeah.
In environments like this.
Absolutely. I work in the Denver metro area, and my family lives down in the Colorado Springs area, so when I'm up working, I do like to stealth camp overnight to stop having to commute back and forth.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you like it? What do you think about it compared to what you thought it was going to be like?
Stealth camping?
Yeah.
You know, at first it was really intimidating, I have to say. I was always really worried about getting that knock in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my first knock. I was actually stealth camping at the hospital where I work, and the security guard stopped and knocked on the van, and I just had to show proof of my work ID and showing that, you know, that I worked there. Since then, though, my boss was trying to solidify some good parking for me at the hospital, and she felt like it was a good resource for the hospital, because then in snowstorms I'm already there ready to work, and not having to make it from Colorado Springs. But there was an incident at the hospital. I didn't cause it, and since then they no longer allow people to park in the camping lot for work. So I'm now off to 100% stealth camping when I'm working.
What kind of places do you like to go?
I really like to be on busy streets where everybody else is already parked on the side of the street. So apartments up there, and there's a lot of great places in the Denver metro area to do that. Any kind of apartment buildings and things like that where there's no parking garage, people are always going to be parked on the side of the street. I also enjoy parking in some parking lots of different car mechanic shops and things like that.
Oh wow, what a great idea.
It is a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a little more risky. You just don't know if companies have cameras and things like that and monitor their property throughout the night.
Right.
So it feels a little bit more risky, but I'm usually up and out of there before the average person.
Yeah. Okay, well, you guys don't know this, but we're in Denver, and it just snowed yesterday, and it's cold out here. The snow has melted, but if Julia will be nice enough to give us a tour of the van, show us how she's organized, then we're going to actually go inside and finish our interview because it's warmer inside.
That sounds
so, Julia, show us your van.
I'm going to start you guys at the back of the van just because you get a better view of what everything looks like from the back.
Great. And by the way, I met Julia at the RTR and was really impressed.
Yes, it was an awesome experience. So from the back of the van, this is my bed. It was really important for me to have two defined spaces. Like during the day, I really wanted more of a living room type feel. This is my kitchen area. These are my uniforms. But I really wanted to have a place that I could sit and do work, in addition to then having, a bedroom space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I normally, I'm house sitting right now, so I don't have all my gear out, but I normally have my stove up here and my water jugs and stuff like that. And all these compartments store all of my food and dishes and things like that. I made sure to put some metal bins up top because the heat does rise from my cooking, so make sure that nothing melts or anything like that.
Oh, that's a great tip. Tell us about the insulation on the roof.
I decided that I wanted to just use some styrofoam insulation. I don't know I have some ideas on how to finish it off, but I want to make certain that, you know, before I do it, I more recently got an idea of how to basically plaster a map up there, and I love maps.
Oh, fun!
So I'm probably going to be looking at doing that.
So we were just saying it's cold outside, and you do stay in your van when it's cold?
I do, yeah. The lowest temperatures that I've slept at have been -1.
Wow.
I have a -20 sleeping bag that I use, and I also have a fleece liner that I put inside of it. And there are many times on a cold night that I wake up in the night and have to take my arms out to cool off.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Does this fold out?
Yeah, so I made this myself.
Oh, wow.
And I basically just looked at some pictures of something similar on Pinterest, and then based on the tools that I still had, because I sold everything, but based on the tools that I still had, and I came up with something that worked for me. And so yeah, this does pull out into a twin size bed. And I originally had started out with a cot, but decided that when my granddaughter travels with me, it would be nice to have a space for both of us to sleep
Oh, that's
together.
great.
And the cot definitely wasn't going to do that.
Now, were you handy before you built this?
Yeah, I've always, being a homeowner in the past, I've always done a lot of my own household, like changing out toilets, doing plumbing, like fixtures, things like that. So I've always been pretty handy.
Great.
Yeah.
And tell us about like shower potty.
Oh, shower potty, you know, the usual. If you're a van lifer, you know all the shower potty things.
The usual.
The usual.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I, you know, do the usual things for the potty. You know what they are, and if you don't, research it.
Bob has a lot of great videos on that. I'll put a couple of links down below.
Absolutely. And he also, you know, and also like showers, you know, I use a gym, and it's really nice, especially after working a 12-hour shift, to be able to go to the gym, burn off some steam, take a shower, sit in the sauna, you know, warm up,
that sounds
you know,
great.
to the core before I come out of the van. So it works out really good.
If there was somebody that like is thinking about doing this, but they're not sure if it's for them, what advice would you give them?
You know, if you think you want to do this, what I would suggest to you, what I did for myself was, when I was in my apartment, I had a 1-bedroom apartment. After I went through a major life change, I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. And at the point that I realized that I needed to go back to the idea of living this lifestyle, I literally moved everything out of the bedroom of the apartment and only lived in the living room and the kitchen area.
To see if you could handle it?
I just wanted to see what it was like just to live in that small space. And the apartment was already small to begin with. It was only 500 square feet. And so I bumped down to 300 square feet. And then I also took some blue tape that you use when you're painting to keep clean lines. And I took the measurements of what I was going to be living in and taped it out on the floor so I could see what things I had that I could already keep, what things that I needed to get instead.
Very smart.
And I spent most of my time when I was at home in that small square. I wanted to see what it was like to be in a small space like that.
How long did you do that?
And I slept in the space probably a month. Probably a month. And then shortly after that, I felt pretty confident that I would enjoy this space. And I love this space. A lot of times people say, oh, well, it doesn't matter if it's small because you spend most of your time outside anyway, which I do. But when I can't spend time outside, like if it's, you know, inclement weather or something like that, I truly love being in this space.
It's cozy.
It's very cozy.
And you really have some stuff in here that really shows your personality.
I do. So a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, he's a brother to me, William Kettner-Polly. I had some major artwork that he had done for me, and it's still in the family, but I asked him to create some things for me that would reflect the life that I was getting ready to start.
Oh, that's great.
And that's the only thing that I asked for, and he came up with these.
I love them.
And then I have another friend who's an artist, Tracy Eastland, who had created these several years ago. And so because, you know, I have all the metal walls, they just ended up being perfect in
That's
here.
great.
And then of course I have pictures of family and stuff like that. But
yeah, I find that even in my RV, I like being shut in.
yeah,
It's really comforting.
well, my van's name is Livy, and I often refer to Livy as being my little cocoon, because I tell people all the time a lot of spiritual growth happens in this
That
space.
is true. That is true. You get to know yourself.
I really will.
When you live this
really
life.
Wow, absolutely.
Your anchors?
Yeah. See these anchors? This is what holds my.
Oh,
this,
wow.
This is what holds my shelving.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah.
And the reason I chose this shelving is because as you can see, the shelves are adjustable, and so I was able to adjust that first shelf to go over my wheel well. And then I also definitely knew I wanted to create a countertop, a place where I could cook and be inside and have, a flat.
Oh, this is so smart. So you just took a basic wire shelf.
Yeah, from Home Depot.
Made one of the shelves a sink or a prep area.
A prep area, right.
Right, and then anchored it to the bottom with these hooks.
Yeah, and I have,
genius.
I have anchors over here in the back, and then I have another anchor in the middle.
And you have some really great organization going on here.
Yeah.
And look how comfy it is. Yeah, come on in. You guys, look how big this is now that she's in here.
Well, and that's
look what a great space.
That's the thing that I love it. When I look at my van from the outside, it looks so tiny. But then when I come in here and I'm in here, it feels so spacious. It's so much bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside.
Yeah, it's really great in here.
And yeah, you can totally, like there was a day at RTR where it was rainy and windy and cold, and I literally just kind of propped up my pillows, took all my window coverings off, and I literally just sat, and I've got the most amazing view when I'm sitting.
Yeah, when the back is open.
Right. And I have a little table that I can pull out and use either outside when I'm cooking or inside.
That's great.
To get some work done and stuff like that.
But we actually came inside because it's Denver and it's really chilly outside. And I have to say the inside of her van is super cozy. So this is Julia. And Julia, tell us about your van and
hi everyone.
Your van life.
Yeah, thank you, Robin, for coming to my home and hanging out with me.
It's so great in here.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I enjoy it too. It's very cozy, very much like a cocoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about your life.
Well, right now I work in Denver, Colorado, and like usually 3 to 4 days a week, and then I'm down in the Springs, when I'm not working, hanging out with my kids and my grandchild and stuff like that. So.
Yep. And so you live in the van when you're working full time?
I live in the van most of the time, yes. I definitely, when I'm working, because I like to stealth park at night in between shifts to prevent from having to commute back and forth.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And you guys will see how great this is organized in a minute. But Julia has so many great things to say about van life, like how it's making her a more creative person. And tell us a little bit about that.
I just find that, with, one of the things that I've noticed a huge change in is that my memory has gotten a lot better since I've been doing van life. And I think a lot of that has to do with just having to be creative and finding places to park and things like that. Like my brain is having to work in ways that it has never had to work before.
Right.
I have to be more reliant on myself, and I have to plan things out and, think ahead. And so I really feel like, how they say doing crossword puzzles and stuff
right.
develops new neural pathways. I feel like this has done that for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And what do you do for work?
I'm a mental health worker at a major hospital here in the Denver metro area.
And how does that work as a van lifer for you?
It works really great. I work PRN, so I let them know when I'm available. I am committed to working for a minimum of 4 days a month. I can work as much as I want. And so what it's doing for me now with van life is it allows me to, work, 4 days at the beginning of 1 month, work 4 days at the end of the month that follows, and to be gone 6 to 7 weeks at a time.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then do you get to spend some time in the van in other places when you're not working? Where do you like to go?
Well, I was at RTR.
I know.
My first
Wasn't
RTR
it great?
It was wonderful. I'll be there next year.
We were next door to each other. That's how we met.
Absolutely.
You meet people at the RTR. That was one of the best parts about it.
It was a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed the people that I met and things like that.
Yeah.
And really, I just moved into my van in October. I still had an apartment at that time, and so I was living in my van even though I had an apartment.
Right.
I just, wanted to acclimate to being in it, like on a free will kind of circumstance instead of just being in it and not having a place, and found that I definitely spent more time in the van. So, as far as traveling, I've done some camping around Colorado. RTR was my first, going out of state to another place. That was my first experience. And really, since I got the van, a lot of it is just working and ending that daily grind of commuting back and forth. And so,
I bet that takes so much stress off your life. It leaves your brain more open for other things.
I definitely agree.
You're not fighting the world.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
And so the next step, I decided to start living in my van in the wintertime, because I told myself that if I could do it in the wintertime, then I could do it anywhere.
And what do you think so far?
So far, so good. I'm really enjoying it. A lot of family members worry about me when it's really cold and stuff like that, but I think I was telling you that I have a -20 sleeping bag, and a lot of times I wake up really hot, just
Right.
having that, and have found little things like just leaving my vent cracked, completely stops any kind of condensation from building up on my windows.
Oh, that's great. Good tip.
Yeah. And so it's working out really great. And I feel the next step for me is preparing to be on the road more often than not.
Right.
So in May, I'll be going down to Ohio to visit some family, and then I have an uncle that has a van, and he loves to bring the family
how
around
fun.
in the van. So we're talking about caravanning down
Oh,
to
how
Georgia to see the
fun.
rest of the family.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Van life is great for me because a couple of years ago, actually 2 years ago today, I found my grandmother's side of the family, and December was the mark of 2 years of finding my grandfather's side of the family on my dad's side. And so van life gives me an opportunity to incorporate my life with their lives,
Right.
and spend time with them in a broader, instead of just going and visiting for a few days and then having
Right.
to come back. Now I can really incorporate my life with their life, but yet I can still be here in Colorado with my kids and my grandchild.
Right.
And so it just gives me a lot of flexibility of coming and going.
That's great.
And I really, really like that.
So it's been a few months. Do you see yourself doing this in the long term?
I am doing it in the long term. I love my job at the hospital, and I'm very, very grateful for the opportunities that it provides to me. But being at the RTR really showed me that it's time for me to take that next leap of faith in moving forward with becoming financially self-sustainable, so that
On the road.
so
Right.
that I can travel and come and go. One of the things that was hard for me leaving RTR, there was a couple of things that were really difficult for me. It felt a lot like summer camp in the sense that when everyone started leaving, I felt sad.
Right. I did too.
It was really hard for me leaving people. And the other thing that it made me realize is that I'm not going to be completely content until I'm on the road full time.
Right. So you're working on a few projects now that you're hoping to roll out. Hey everybody, if you see this video in a few months or a couple years, whatever, I'm going to put the links for everything Julie is working on, which is some exciting stuff, down below.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Of
that.
course. Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody who's out there that might want to do this?
If you think you want to do this, look into it. And I have a little, what worked for me, because at first I didn't know if I wanted to be in a converted cargo trailer or if I wanted to be in a converted van. And I really just spent some time writing out the pros and cons of things.
Right.
Because it's painstaking when you're trying to figure out what you want, and you're making an investment in something, you want it to feel good and for it to be right.
Right.
Writing out the pros and cons of what you're wanting and what feels most comfortable to you is really huge. And if this is something that I've heard lots of people suggest, rent a U-Haul van and go camping for a weekend and see what that feels like. And I think once you experience it, you will know. If you go for a long weekend, camping in a van, you're going to know by the end of that long weekend if this is what you want to do.
Right. What do you think about the community on the road? Do you find that you're lonely, or you're making more friends than you expected, or what's been your experience?
I don't really feel loneliness. I enjoy being alone. I also really enjoy connecting with people and people's energy. And so I like having opportunities where I can connect with people, but then I really appreciate being able to come back to my cocoon and being by myself.
So folks, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. I'm sure you did. And thank you so much, Robin. Just love getting different ideas and perspectives. And so if you did get something out of this video, be sure to check out Robin's channel here on YouTube, Creativity RV. And we'll see you on our next video. In the meantime, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you later.